Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul. In this video, we're breaking down Fallout. We are back in the Wasteland, my fellow spoiler dwellers, and Season 2 has a lot to unpack from it. Over the next 8 weeks, we'll be breaking down the series and talking about all the Easter eggs and game references in the show. I can't wait to get into it, and if you want to join me on the way, make sure you're subscribed.
Oh, then we better get going.
Now, Season 1 ended with an almighty cliffhanger reveal that Hank was heading to New Vegas, so we will finally learn what happened in the Mojave Wasteland after the greatest RPG of all time. Don't at me. We know that, as of now, Todd Howard is not giving us a modern remake of New Vegas or even a sequel, well, as of yet, so this is our only chance to return to this world. I am very excited to get back there though, and we pick up pretty much where we left things last time. While Hank heads to New Vegas, Lucy and the Ghoul are on their way to intercept him. We also get appearances from Norm as he tries to escape Vault 31, along with some brilliant scenes set in the past. The episode opens with the studio logos being displayed on the Securitron, which reveal the title, The Man Who Knew. This is obviously a reference to the 1956 Alfred Hitchcock movie, The Man Who Knew Too Much, and it involves your classic Americana style, which clearly influenced the show. The film revolves around the kidnapping of a child, and that child just so happens to be called Hank. You can also apply this title to lots of different people in the episode, and we of course have Hank, the shadowy Mr. House, and also Cooper. As we learned last season, Cooper's wife presented the idea of dropping nukes to ensure that they had a monopoly on the vault. As they say, capitalism always wins, and corporations will often go after what makes the most money, even if it means destroying the world. Hey, it worked for Umbrella in Resident Evil somehow, which I never understood, because how are they still making money if all their customers are zombies? But here we are. Anyway, this is something weighing heavily on his mind, and we see it unfold throughout the dual timeline. This is something executive producer Jonathan Nolan did to great effect in Westworld, and there's a couple of references to that show throughout. Now we open with a wide shot of Los Angeles, which is where Hank's future vaults will be located. We see the retro futuristic city and hear Peggy Lee singing about how she's in heaven on the song Cheek to Cheek. Classic 50s music is of course a staple of the Fallout franchise, with the Ink Spots and Dean Martin tunes being used across Fallout 3 in New Vegas. There's an airship in the sky which looks like the Prydwen. This featured in Season 1 as the Brotherhood of Steel's airship and was also in Fallout 4. Just in case you don't know, its name's inspired by the ship of the same name from Arthurian legend. You can also see LAX at the back, and it's a great establishing shot of the past. It looks like the tensions have reached a fever pitch though, with people protesting Robco and smashing up a Mr. Handy. Turns out there's a major strike happening, and Mr. Handy is classed as a scab. This means someone who defies a strike and goes to work for the company. But yeah, being a robot, I'm not sure how much it can help. However, this is all clearly a comment on AI, and Robert House appears on TV discussing the government using Robco to handle their international disputes, and most likely replace their workforce. These international disputes are also possibly referring to the Sino-American War. Cooper mentioned in Season 1 how he fought in Alaska, and by 2077, the war had reached a stalemate. Civvies would of course want the war to end, but even in a stalemate, weapons companies would become filthy rich. Now this might also hint at Liberty Prime, that is, a gigantic robot made by Robco to do battle against the Chinese. It appeared in Fallout 3 and 4 and was probably the standout mission in both games. Don't at me. Strikes have also been mentioned before, and Cooper's friend brought them up in Season 1. The public here is furious though that jobs are being taken by robots, those goddamn clankers. Again, it speaks to the current climate of AI, and it was a nice way to play on current concerns without being too on the nose. There's always the argument that advances in tech should enhance lives, but AI has led to record layoffs, RAMs become extortionate, and it's also been polluting water supplies. There's also the argument that AI is basically a plagiarism machine that steals the work of the people it puts out of jobs and then gives you something that isn't as good as the original creation. And yeah, I love how the show's tapping into that, but again, not doing it where it's just smashing you over the head with it like a lot of shows tend to do these days. Now they say they never voted for him, but in this society, a purchase is a vote, and again, capitalism always wins. You can see that every day with AI as well, and companies are constantly embracing it in order to make money. This might also refer to the automation riots mentioned in the games. As for Mr. House, he was of course one of the main people that the courier would meet with in Fallout New Vegas. Post-war, Mr. House ensured his survival by controlling the strip through Machiavellian tactics from his life support machine, which we'll talk more about in just a bit. He needed an invention of his that was lost in the apocalypse, and this was known as the Platinum Chip. This provided data and upgrade software for his army of Securitrons and missile arrays. If you, the courier, handed it over to him, he would be able to take over the Mojave Wasteland, and I do wonder if they're gonna bring that across to the show. For now though, he's just acting smug in this bar, and is really well dressed, I must say. Now, this is not weird, but it's a bit weird because there were lots of reports that Robert House had been recast with Justin Theroux taking over. However, it appears that Rafi Silva is still playing the character. Now, I have two ideas for what's happening here, and we won't theory time it yet. So the first of these is that he might be playing Anthony House, aka Robert's half-brother. Anthony seized H&H tools and froze Robert out of his will, leading to the creation of Robco. This might be why he mentions the H&H nail gun, which is a weapon introduced in the New Vegas DLC. It could also be a trick though. Robert House may have been a lackey who pretends to be him while House works from the shadows. I would find it funny if Cooper goes to kill him, but actually kills the figurehead body double. But yeah, that's theory timing. You know what to do, you let me know below, and I'll mention it myself and take credit for it. Thrown outside, we then see the Radiation King truck, which is a company from the games. He's also wearing the same outfit as the one we saw in the portrait in New Vegas. Mr. House also asks for a punch to the face, saying he might like it. Look mate, this is a kink-free zone. But yeah, he just gets smashed like the like button. House also says he's rarely wrong, foreshadowing his impeccable ability to predict events. In the boot of House's car is $31 million, which is offered to the patron from the bar in exchange for a device being put on the back of their neck. Now this device looks a lot like the cybernetic pain inhibitor used by Conrad Kellogg in Fallout 4. It makes Bill attack his friends, only for his brain to explode after he fails to comply. He then says that the world may end, but progress marches on. And of course it did. I also think it kind of speaks to how the vaults themselves were used as elaborate experiments at the hands of men like this. Progress marches on may also refer to the iconic March of Progress image. It's a great opening though, and it really sets a tone for the rest of the season. We will be breaking down the rest of that in just a bit, but firstly, a quick word from our sponsors. This video is powered by ZocDoc, your brand new healthcare superpower exclusively for our viewers in America. So if you watched our channel around the time of our Stranger Things breakdown, then you might have heard horsey heavy spoilers. I was so ill, but I didn't go to the doctors, and looking back, I probably should have. A lot of that though, to me, it boils down to just how inconvenient that it is. Even booking an appointment leads to me often being on the phone for like over an hour, so I often just put it off. However, ZocDoc stops all that. ZocDoc is a free, game-changing healthcare platform that connects you with top-rated, in-network doctors in your area. All you have to do is open ZocDoc, type what you need, and boom, you can instantly check appointments in your area and book one with a local doctor instantly. There's real doctors, real reviews, and real open slots that pop up. There's no long phone calls, no hold music for 45 minutes, just click, boom, done. Whether it's mental care, dental care, eye care, skin care or beyond, ZocDoc's got you covered. ZocDoc offers access to over 100,000 healthcare providers across nearly every specialty. They show real-time appointment availability so you can pick a time that fits your schedule. Most appointments also happen within 24 to 72 hours, and same-day visits are often available. Don't be like heavy spoilers, don't delay those doctor visits. Head to my link in the description at ZocDoc.com/heavyspoilers. There you can find and book a top-rated doctor today across various specialities. Visit ZocDoc.com/heavyspoilers to explore their free revolutionary platform and find the perfect doctor for you. Thanks. Anyway, it's from here we cut back to the current timeline and see the Mojave Wasteland. At the bottom is the Poseidon gas station with Novac in the middle. To the right's the Helios one, and to the left is the Repcon test site. Helios 1 features a memorable side quest where you can trick a scientist into admitting he's just winging it, a bit like someone I know. Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers show. The Repcon test site also has a very cool side quest, but I won't spoil that one. This channel is not called Heavy Spoilers. Welcome to the show. The Ghoul and Lucy are stuck in Novac, which featured in New Vegas. And yeah, we know it's Novac as the sign says no vacancy. It's a fantastic setting in the game, and it's where you find one of my favorite companions in Boone, who protected the town from raiders and the Legion. It's also inspired by the Cabazon dinosaur and Lucy's in Dinky the Dinosaur, which is where Boone kept watch. Now, this is inhabited by the Great Khans. They were originally the Khans, and then the new Khans in Fallout 1 and 2 before being driven off to the Mojave Wasteland. Now, this is the first contentious, heavy spoilers, being very pedantic point. Fallout New Vegas had multiple endings based on your choices in the game. The game ended with the second Battle of Hoover Dam, with the Khans, Legion, NCR, and House of Securitrons doing battle. The people behind the show never decided on which ending for the game was canon, and they just said it was hazy. Set 15 years after the game and its release, which is clever, they said that each faction thinks that they won, mainly because that's how life works. But yeah, one of them seems to take a jet inhaler, and in the game, the Khans were actually drug addicts. I love how they brought them to the screen as well, and they look fantastic in their biker gang look. The Khan member who's speaking mentions that the ghoul's been harassing them for a very long time, and this refers to how he's being kept in stasis and every so often will be let out, just like we saw in Season 1. The ghoul then mentions that one of the buildings used to be a store where he bought a soda pop 25 years ago. This is likely him referring to Nuka-Cola, which is of course, the soda in Fallout. He also says that the woman behind the counter was named Dollar, and New Vegas fans will know that there was someone named Carla who was Boone's wife in the game. She met a tragic end at the hand of the Legion, and is the subject of the fantastic side mission, One for My Baby. So the ghoul may be misremembering things here. The scene is also very reminiscent of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It's pretty much the con the man with no name was pulling off with Tuco, with him being handed in to collect the reward, and then being shot down and rescued. Which is a detail I love. In general though, the show kind of fits around the classic Western archetypes that were explored in that film, and we have three main leads just like that movie. That film somewhat also deconstructed the archetypes of Westerns, and basically had, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Lucy is of course the good, with Cooper being the ugly, and yeah, the bad, you can apply that to Maximus, or hell, even Hank. Now, I think this was all done on purpose, as Nolan's a massive Western fan. Like, even Westworld deconstructed a lot of the confines of the genre. It used to be that you had your heroes wearing white hats and the villains wearing black. This was also how they chose their character types upon entering the park. However, over time, the lines became blurred, and we then got the updated Western that was kind of more of a middle ground. I love this opening though, and yeah, it nicely plays off the game, and one of the best movies ever made. There's also the idea of how Fallout means more than just nuclear fallout. We had the fallout of Lucy's family, Coop's falling out with his wife as well, and there's of course the limited water in Vault 33, which is causing a bit of a fallout. Just like Boone, Lucy's also providing overwatch from Dinky the T-Rex with dog meat. The problem is though, she wants to just abide by the golden rule, which is to treat others as you wish to be treated. She tries to pass a speech skill check with the Great Khans, offering them a peaceful resolution as opposed to an all-out firefight. However, the check fails, and they say whoever wins gets to eat the dog, which is a bit chilling, as the scene opened with a dog skeleton on a spit roast. She then shoots down the ghoul, who goes into full-on sicko mode, while Lucy just flesh wounds the gang, possibly in a reference to Terminator 2. But you should have picked good-natured. Now yeah, she may have failed to talk her way out of this one, but she manages to blow up a vehicle just like the game. I love how as we pan down to the pool with the ghoul as well, we can also see Death Before Surrender, with surrender spelt wrong. To Big Iron by Marty Robbins, the ghoul then lets rip with the barbed wire rope, utilising his lasso skills which we saw in Season 1. Big Iron also comes from the Radio New Vegas channel, and it's hosted by Mr. New Vegas and voiced by Wayne Newton. Newton is of course a mainstay in the town, and in real life he's called Mr. Vegas due to his legendary run of shows. He actually also returned in the Ghoul Log, which was made to market Season 2. There, Mr. New Vegas presents Songs Over a Fire, which references those screensavers that people put up around Christmas time. And Merry Christmas to you too. Now during the fight, he runs out of shotgun bullets, which forces him to use a throwing knife. This is right out of the game, and he then switches to the grenade launcher. It's at this point he then uses VATS, which is referring to the Vault-Tec Assisted Targeting System, which yeah, if you've played the games, you'll instantly recognise. The slow-mo and the way you follow the shot is exactly like the game, and is such a cool moment. He must have also got the Bloody Mess perk, as the victim's head just completely explodes. I guess a grenade will do that though. Look, I'm trying to guess his build here. Lastly, he gets a double kill with the grenade, and surely he must have leveled up. Leaving Novak, the ghoul then uses radiation to heal himself. This is like the Rat Child perk from New Vegas, where you heal when you're irradiated. It's also similar to how playing as a ghoul works in Fallout 76. Walking across the desert, he then tries to give Lucy a reality check. The Mojave Wasteland is going to be wildly more dangerous, and factions like the Legion are extremely brutal and like Mad Max on steroids. They then arrive at a spot where we can finally see the New Vegas Strip. In the far distance, you can spot the Lucky 38. That's a resort and casino owned by Mr. House and is inspired by the real-life Stratosphere Hotel and Casino. It looks to be the opposite side of New Vegas from the fastest route there in the game. Mainly because it looks like McCarran's airbase is on the left, which is run by the NCR. It's the easiest way to get into the Strip in the game, as opposed to paying like 2,000 caps to get into the Strip. The Ghoul may also be trying to avoid the countless Rad Scorpions and the Death Claw. At the end of the last season, the closing credits showed a ravaged and destroyed New Vegas Strip, and there was a Death Claw skull and an NCR vertibird, which made it seem like the NCR and Mr. House had a pretty harsh battle. Again, depending on which faction you side with, the NCR will stay or be run out of the Mojave. One of the endings also saw them annex the Strip, so perhaps after Shady Sands, they were then overthrown. Again, I've said other showrunners, never decided on the canon ending, but I feel like at some point they kinda need to decide. Lucy also mentions how it looks like old photos, but the Ghoul is not pleased about visiting. He mentions how the nukes over the Strip were also shot down by the missile array. As we learn, he was recruited by Moldava in the past to take out Mr. House. He was building a missile array and was believed to be the one who could kickstart the end of the world. In the games, at some point as well, he put himself into a life support system and wired his brain directly into his supercomputer. He had hoped to receive the Platinum chip before the Great War, but had to go without. It was located though, and again was transported by the courier, who is who you play as in New Vegas. Mr. House's lackey Benny ended up stealing it though, because he wanted to use it to take over the Strip himself. Benny was voiced by the late Matthew Perry, and it's such a shame he passed away before the season was made, and I did wonder if they had plans to include him. Once again though, we don't know exactly what happened to Mr. House post New Vegas, but the Ghoul implies that Mr. House betrayed the rest of the cabal of companies from season 1. Especially as Hank seems to have been working for House in secret. Lucy then asks why her dad would go to Las Vegas, and while we don't find out why Hank is contacting House at the end, or whoever it is, we likely will. Cutting back to a flashback of last season's finale, we see as Coop learned his wife wanted to nuke the world to make the line go up. This entire scene in the boardroom is also heavily inspired by Dr. Strangelove, and I'm so glad they're releasing these shows weekly so we can actually take our time on these breakdowns and go through all the Easter eggs. Yeah, because last time was just a bit of a rush. Now, the season extends things beyond last time, and we see the aftermath of this action and how he rushed home to take his daughter away. However, Moldava attempted to recruit him. At some point though, he will split with his wife, as in episode 1, the guys there mentioned how he was hosting the party to pay alimony. They also call him a pinko, so it appears that his allegiances will get exposed. As he goes to leave with his daughter, we then get an almighty Easter egg as the street looks just like the opening of Fallout 4. You can also hear Make the World Go Away by Eddie Arnold, which plays in the background. While not in the New Vegas soundtrack, Eddie Arnold does have a song called It's a Sin. He then says that they're going to go to Bakersfield. This is a place he mentioned moving to in season 1, and his dream was to buy a ranch there. Now, this is actually the location of Vault 12. This is a big experimental vault where Vault-Tec basically wanted to study the effects of unprotected radiation on humans. The door didn't close, and the inhabitants eventually turned into ghouls and founded Necropolis, which was featured in Fallout 1. Because of this, I do wonder if Cooper actually ended up there during the Great War, which is how he became a ghoul. We then hear that a test is about to commence on the public alert system and get my favourite Easter egg of the show. We see the Vault-Tec rep complete with his truck. One tries to sell you a spot in a vault during the opening of Fallout 4, and love this moment. And just in general, this is such a cool nod to the opening of Fallout 4. Just like the game, the public panics and tries to rush to a vault, and we also see a vertibird, which is the transport of choice for the military. I love how Cooper also turns and sees his face on the billboard as everyone's panicking. This is the advert he shot in season 1, but we saw in the opening how the thumbs up thing was kind of rubbing him the wrong way, and I hope you give the thumbs up as well. He's unwillingly become the face of the company though, and is engineering the end of the world. It says keep your loved ones safe, which is what he's doing right now as he goes against his wife. If you're going to a vault yourself there, then you're going to need some clothes for it, and why not check out our merch store right below the video. There we have a whole host of our Fallout inspired shirts, including our Nuka pinup, Ghoul, and also our Brotherhood one. Right now, we also have a Christmas sale on where you get 10% off every shirt. Beyond that though, the more you buy, the more of a discount you get, and it all helps videos like this get made, and your boy look fantastic. Well, I look terrible. I should have shaved. Look, I'm trying my best. This is the most hair I could get in a week. Cutting back to Vault 33, we see how they're getting on, and hear Come Go With Me by the Dell Vikings. Life seems to be going swimmingly though, as Reg is eating a comically childish lollipop. Just kind of speaks to the innocence in the vault and how detached from reality that everybody here is. And yeah, when they're having lice soup on the surface and lollipops in the vault, makes you kind of wonder who's got it made. He was of course part of the council in season 1 though, but it seems he's been resigned to pointless and fake busy work this time round. He's asking where Norm is, but as we know, he's stuck in Vault 31. That vault is actually where all the Vault-Tec employees were kept on ice. Building off the back of season 1, there they mentioned the water situation was dire, and we hear that things aren't going well. So everyone's pulling together, and we can also see a water purification system on top of some blueprints. It's just like the one that you're shown at the start of Fallout 1. They're tasked with finding a new water chip for the purifier, and with 33 ones also being damaged, I think a similar mission is probably going to happen for the Dwellers. Betty then mentions relocating power, which reminds me of Fallout Shelter. This is a game I had to actually uninstall from my phone, as my wife was getting furious at how much I was playing it, but I love you, thank you for all the happy years. Betty then tries to get Reg to go away as the vault's in dire straits, and she just wants to focus. Thus he does what everybody would do, which is make an interbreeding support group. Now I feel like this hints at not only what she's dealing with as being the overseer of this vault, but also the fact she's running the secret Vault-Tec op from 31. At the end of season 1, Vault 32 was resettled with people from 33 being sent there. The inhabitants of Vault 32 actually went crazy after they learned their entire existence was to simply breed super managers. Managers who would then rule the earth. But yeah, they'd be just the absolute worst of the hustle culture type people. Steph is the new overseer though, and as we learned, she was actually a Vault-Tec employee who was from Vault 31. Davey is also a bumbling fool who's emblematic of the worst of corporate culture. He can't even handle being in a new vault where everything's the opposite. He never had kids, as he was clearly never super manager material, unlike Steph. He is everything wrong with the governments of the world, and poor old Chet was also sent to Vault 32 and is a stay-at-home dad for a kid that isn't his, and which he clearly has reservations about. Everyone basically says, no, it is your, what do you mean it is your kid? And even Steph's like, we'll call him Chet Jr., which is after his dad. But yeah, I feel come the end of the season, he's going to finally accept them as his own and basically show that families are made from all different walks of life. Now he mentions he has experience in being a gatekeeper, which was a role which he had last season. Chet also knows she's from 31, and I think once our boy Norm gets out, he may reveal the truth. Steph displays all the qualities of a super manager though, but it's funny how she can't work the computer terminals. Chet also mentions the Weevil famine, which is something Davey mentioned in season 1. Intervault communications are also down, which is something Norm's done while being trapped in 31. But Askins has kept him prisoner since the end of season 1 and has been urging him to go into his father's stasis pod. However, later he opts for sheer chaos as he opens up the stasis pod of everyone in the vault. And yeah, I can't wait to see how that pays off. Back with Lucy and the ghoul, they then follow Hank's footsteps, literally, as we see that he walked through a dead body. I love this metaphor though, and it shows the capitalist boot is stepping on the working man. The bloodstained footprint has also left a trail, and they come across the poor guy's mum, who sells fleece soup, which looks lovely. This video is sponsored by Fleece Soup. Get your soup now, you shits. I did wonder though if she could be old lady Gibson, considering she's making a living out in the wasteland. There's also derelict cars near her, but it is a bit of a reach. This also reminded me a lot of early on in The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, where Angel Eyes goes to interrogate someone and he ends up killing his son. Might be another reach, but just the dead son thing here reminded me a lot of it, and I'm sure they also did it in Westworld. The pair then arrive at one of the deepest cuts in the episode as we see a drive-in theater which hides a hidden vault. This is the Starlight Drive-in Theater, which was a location in Fallout 4. Strange as both the Mojave Drive-in and the California Sunset Drive-in were also in Fallout New Vegas, with the latter appearing in the Old World Blues DLC. The ghoul then looks at the marquee and we see his movie A Man and His Dog 3. We saw a poster for this in season 1 and it's inspired by the real movie, which also inspired the Fallout series. There's also a Dracula movie showing, which I don't know, might apply to a ghoul or something. We're getting the Easter eggs here. Lucy also talks about what they'll do when they get to her father. She knows that her upbringing is all fake, but is trying to be an example to everyone on the surface, which is a noble cause. It's of course part of the idea of Reclamation Day being drilled into her head, and her purpose is to go topside and re-civilize the world. I feel it's like someone playing a Fallout game, but in a lawful, good sort of way, whereas everyone else just doesn't have that luxury. Dogmeat then finds Vault 24, which was originally cut from the game. However, there could be a jumpsuit found in the game's files. So I think it's really cool that it lives on here. Cutting to the past, we then see a wacky commie game, which is clearly inspired by the fears of the Red Menace at the time. That foreshadows the reveal that Vault 24 was intended to turn people into communists. Or Moldy wants Cooper to use his fame to get into places she can't, to get into the room where it happens, the room where it happens. As mentioned earlier, this is probably where his downfall begins. Mr. House knows everything, and Cold Fusion is the last thing he needs to end the world. Cold Fusion was the MacGuffin that was being chased last season, which was invented by Moldaver. That is now in the hands of the Brotherhood of Steel and Maximus, who is sadly missing from this episode. But yeah, I can wait, and I prefer these weekly releases. Cooper then walks out, and we now have a sort of Mr. and Mrs. Smith situation. It really adds tension in the next scene, and I think will be a great plot line going forward. At the end of season 1, I did have reservations that could they keep this storyline going, but so far this episode, I think it's been handled really well. At Cooper's house, we also hear a news reporter talking about Westech. Their stocks are up amid reports that their new biological products will revolutionize skincare. They were part of the cabal of businesses arranging the end of the world and have been featured in the games. They actually helped design the T-45 power armor that Cooper wore in battle. As he showed last season, it had a design flaw that led to the deaths of many soldiers, and Bud Askins used to work there. We also might be seeing part of Cooper's history in the war, as the trailer showed him in the power armor. In the DLC for Fallout 3, Operation Anchorage, we got to see their battle via simulation, so there is the possibility that we might see it for real this time. Super mutants were also created as a result of their forced evolutionary virus. They were mentioned by the Westech employees in the season 1 finale, and that was suggested, making them using illegal immigrants. Mr. House also says that it's not a question of when the world will end, but who will press the button, which no doubt reminds Coop of Moldaver mentioning that House will be the one to hit it. Hit it like the like button. I love the display of guilt on Bob here though, as both she and her husband are on opposite sides of the corporate plot. Cooper is the man who knew, but he's having to bite his tongue and play coy. The framing is also fantastic as she walks in, and we can see another movie poster of Coop's on the left. It's called Revenge of Brutus and refers to one of Julius Caesar's assassins, Brutus. Julius Caesar was of course betrayed, and there's that undercurrent throughout this scene. Season 2 will also feature the Legion that appeared in New Vegas, and they were led by Caesar, who's a guy that really does think about the Roman Empire all the time. I just want to clarify as well, mate, before you start, it's pronounced Kaiser in the game. Before you start, mate, before you bloody start your shit. I wonder if Cooper will use his acting skills, though, and lines from The Revenge of Brutus to manipulate the characters. The most famous line, Et tu Brutus, appeared in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. A friend ends up killing a friend to stop them from becoming king and tearing apart the Roman Republican Empire. So here, Coop is going to have to go against his wife to stop the world from ending. The vault is also clearly abandoned and a far cry from Lucy's home. The ghoul says he's been to a lot of vaults, which makes sense considering he's trying to find his wife and daughter. Whatever happened to them must have happened quickly after the bomb dropped. Although, as we mentioned, he may have ended up in the necropolis. She's forced to open the vaults up properly, with a process looking just like Fallout 4. They then discuss the vault experiments, with it being revealed that Vault 24 is indeed another in a long line of hellish vaults. We also see a Chinese Red Army hat, which gives me an interesting thought. I did wonder if this could be a vault that housed Chinese citizens as part of Vault-Tec who were just wanting to get filthy rich regardless of ideology. And as I always say, capitalism always wins. Going down into the vault though, we learn the truth and discover that Vault-Tec, for some reason, wanted to turn people into communists. And as I always say, communism always wins. As they walk down into the tunnels though, we can see a red star on the wall to the left of the window. At the table, dead vault dwellers sit in front of a Chinese flag, but there's an even bigger twist on top of this. Turns out this was all part of an experiment. Mind control has been used to make people think they're Chinese. Now I do wonder if this is an evolution or test to see if the mind control device House used earlier can go even further than just beating people up in the street. If they can brainwash you using this chip to think you're Chinese, what could be next? Could you think Ryan Airy is a good YouTuber? Oh god, no! One of the vaults in New Vegas, which was called Vault 19, that also had the dwellers separated into both red and blue areas. They were subjected to paranoia-inducing noise and also subliminal messages. So I wonder if the showrunners took inspiration from that for this series. The message here says, "We choose people over product." Vault-Tec chose the opposite, both with a faulty power armor and using the vaults as a business venture to end the world. The horror of this then leads the ghoul to take a hit of Jet. We see Hank also came here as well, as this would be valuable data for whatever he's planning to do with the behavior device. He also knew Lucy was following and thus left a box of sugar bombs, which is a cereal from the game. It's Hank's pet name for Lucy as well, which is something he said in season 1.
My little sugar bomb.
He's so awful that he uses someone he found to also leave a message for her. The chip malfunctions, blowing up the guy's head, just like the start of the episode. The ghoul then asks if she's seen her dad use one of these before. I wonder if he's seen it before, and Lucy may lose part of her chipper attitude as the horrors of her dad's nature start to come to the forefront, beyond what we've seen so far. Meanwhile, Reg conducts his support group, Products of Inbreeding. It's something which kind of makes sense what happened down there, but yeah, it's clearly frowned upon. People have lots of self-hate because of it, and yeah. But well, does this couple actually have self-hate? Not really. Now, Lucy did say that she would fool around with her cousin, but also said this during season 1.
We all know that, Jet. Messing around with your cousin, it's all well and good for kids, but it's not a sustainable long-term sexual practice, you know?
Not many people have turned up though, except for Marianne from season 1, who's sat there munching on popcorn. There's also 2 who are clearly there to try and change the rules to allow inbreeding. Realizing this won't work, they then get up to go and leave. To the left is also a special poster referring to the primary stat categories such as strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. Now, Reg is clearly searching inside himself to get sense of purpose after not becoming an overseer. He's desperate for something that gives him a meaning in life, which is why he starts to indulge Marianne's theories. We then hear It's All Over But the Crying by the Ink Spots. It featured in Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. Due to how much their music's appeared in the games, shows, and marketing, the Ink Spots have kind of become synonymous with the franchise. Cutting to Norm, he then asks what his dad was like. Gets told he's ambitious, as we know, and Bud is desperate for Norm to get into his father's pod. He was sort of a disappointment in a way in season 1, and he just seemed completely indifferent. I had like that interview when they were going to punish him for not doing it, and he was like, I'm just completely apathetic to everything. Here now though, he's trying to do the only irrational thing, which is to release everyone. If he frees everyone, Bud will probably have to keep them alive, and hell, they might even try and help him escape. However, he's about to be trapped with the worst social/corporate climbers on Earth. We'll talk about some of the upcoming stuff in our spoiler section, but yeah, that's how things are here. Cutting to Hank, we then see him arrive at the subterranean Vault-Tec HQ. It's hard to say where exactly this is, but we do have a theory that we'll also say for the spoiler section. And season 1 ended with him being shot across the face, which left an almighty cut. In what's a great bit of continuity, we can see the wound, but it does get washed up. This area also really reminds me of Nolan's other show, Westworld, especially the research area in season 2. I love how he also checks his unread messages like Roman Roy. He then swaps one grey suit for another while settling into some home comforts. Also love how he swapped a suit of power armor for a power suit. It shows where he thinks true leadership lies. The power armor is wildly powerful, but the people who caused the end of the world, they were wearing suits. I've always been a fan of the 60s style suits though, and then he heads to the global comps. He also has to make sure he has a cup of coffee after that long walk. All I could think though was Twin Peaks when he's in that and he says,
"This is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee."
My guy even has a Pip-Boy 3 billion. This was in the game, but the show version seems to be just gold and missing the diamonds. He then puts out a message saying that no one knows he's here and that he's still alive. He also finds a room full of corpses missing their heads and the chips going through miniaturization. Hoping that this will get him a promotion, he vows to complete the work that was started and that it will end with who I'm guessing is House begging for him to help him. As we saw at the end of season 1, Hank was just a lowly executive assistant, but also a big fan of Cooper. So I can't wait to see them face off again. Again, Bud said earlier in the episode that he clearly has ambition and he's trying to climb the corporate ladder during the end of the world. And it's like, what's the point? Closing out to Working for the Man by Roy Orbison, we then cut to credits, which hints at some things that could be coming. We see the derelict El Diablo roller coaster, which is a location in the game. Zooming out, we can also see the Mojave Express sign on the top of a building. They're a courier company from the game who the main character worked for, and we then see Bison Steve Hotel, which is also in Prim. Now I wonder if Lucy and the Ghoul will be heading there next, as we see the sign for Lucky 38 Casino, which plays on the in-game one. Now that kind of takes us into our spoiler section, where we're going to talk about the trailer shots and things that could potentially ruin the series for you. If you don't want to know, thank you for watching this far, and I hope that I see you next week. MT is also dropping a breakdown of the weeks ahead trailer, so keep an eye out for that, and yeah, see you very shortly. Anyway, if you're still here, thank you for sticking with me, and we know from the trailer that Cooper heads to Lucky 38 with his wife. We also have Norm, whose story's been teased at in the press photos. They have him standing in front of the unthawed group looking serious. They're supposed to only unthaw every 30 years, and it is possible some of them were actually involved in Vault 32's Civil War. We know that Norm will also escape Vault 31, as the trailer shows a bunch of 31 dwellers heading out and seeing the ocean. It's also possible that Hank's in Vault 21. While it was a tourist attraction on the strip, New Vegas game director John Sawyer said that part was cemented up, but yeah, they might explore it in the show. It might even be like a brand new Nexus vault, which links every vault in the area. So yeah, what is it? We don't know. Sorry, couldn't give you concrete answers, but I'm guessing that we will learn very soon, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode below. Please drop a like as well, and if you want to follow us on Instagram and keep up to date with what we're doing, then make sure you check us out at Heavy Spoilers. Did you know as well that members of the channel also get early access to videos like this every single week, and all you had to do is click the join button, pledge your allegiance, and pay 99 cents a month, and for that you'll get an early breakdown a week before anyone else who isn't in the membership program. Huge thank you to everyone who does that, really means a lot to us, and thank you for all your guys' support. Now if you want something else to watch, Welcome to Derry has just wrapped up, and we've done a big breakdown of that big finale episode. Where will it go? What Easter eggs did you miss? Well, you won't be missing them, mate, because they're in that thing. Anyway, huge thank you for watching through this one. I've been your host Paul, you've been the best, and I'll see you next one. Take care, peace.